Okay, so this is my first ever digital painting. I'd just gotten a Wacom graphics tablet, and just to set the scene, back in those days, dodge and burn was like the thing. Like, people went crazy for it. Wait, okay, first of all, the image. It's absolutely crazy. There's just so much dodge and burn going on everywhere. Yeah. Damn, that's bad. It looks bad now, but at the time I thought this was amazing and I was super proud of it. And I was like, look at the detail, it was just so crazy. Even like these little sparkly bits, you know, I drew like 1 pixel lines using the pencil tool to create those sparkles, and I was just super proud of it. And this is the next image I've got. Yeah, super airbrushy, anatomy's all off. The colors are just, it looks like an American flag. And the next one, oh. This is shocking, just shocking. So you can see here I'm still in love with airbrush, dodge and burn. And yeah, I think this was like my edgy teenage phase. Well, that was the extent of it. I wasn't that edgy as a teen. I was pretty happy actually. So yeah, check out that hair. I thought that was so good. Like, I would individually draw each strand. I couldn't believe how much detail and control I would have using the pencil tool, and like being able to control individual pixels. And that was a big focus for me, like pixel art and being able to zoom in 2000% and like manipulate each individual pixel. That was a big deal for me, and I now realize, looking back, that that was like the worst possible way to approach drawing. Like, I probably should have gone the other way, because you're so focused on the detail that you completely forget about actually making a good drawing, or, you know, utilizing depth of field, or, you know, knowing which parts of the image should be sharper to draw your attention versus other areas which should be more abstract. All that was completely lost on me. I was just fully focused on pixel detail and sharpness, and yeah, it shows. Anyway, let's jump out of this. These 3 images were from when I was 15 years old. Let's go up to 16. Alright, okay, so I've got 2 folders here for 16. Let's head into the airbrushing one, because these all share something in common. They're all like photocopies of, you know, like celebrity portraits. I don't know why, but this was a big thing at the time. People were really into like these photorealistic airbrushed portraits. And I mean, I guess it's kind of like a natural extension from like that whole pixel art thing. Like, I was addicted to like how detailed people would get these photorealistic portraits done, and they would have like, you know, every individual strand outlined, and it would just look so realistic. So I was like, I need to do that. And yeah, mixed in with the fact that I was a lonely teenage boy that didn't have a girlfriend meant that drawing these things made sense to me. So this is Britney Spears. Yep, she was big back then, and I'm really showing my age. But I was actually really happy with this one. I think it actually looks like her. But looking back now, I know that like all I did was photocopy pixels from a photo, and there wasn't much artistic interpretation or, you know, even creative ability. It was just, it's like hand-eye coordination, I guess. And I know this isn't amazing. Like, there's much better photocopy artworks out there. And I'm not saying that photocopy artworks are totally skillless or devoid of value, but yeah, they're just not that creative, they're not that interesting. But it was a good exercise for me to do at the time, and it allowed me to like experiment with the different tools in Photoshop and how to get that realistic feel. Okay, the next one is Mandy Moore. Yeah, so I had the biggest crush on Mandy Moore back then, but this video isn't about my high school crushes, it's about art. So yeah, this one wasn't as successful. I don't really think it looks like her. But you can tell I really had fun with the hair. I just went crazy drawing individual strands, putting in that glossy shine. And I guess that kind of sums up what I was all about as an artist back then. Like, to me, everything was about rendering and making things look shiny and cool and neat, and not really considering the overall artwork and how impactful that is on a viewer or anything. It was just about the gratification of rendering stuff. Okay, so the next one is Natalie Portman. I was really happy with this one. I feel like this is like one of my best photo copies that I've done, and I feel like it looks like her. And I was really happy with like small details. So you've got here, like on the strap, you can see a little shadow, and when I drew that, I remember thinking, man, this is popping so well. Like, I was like, it looks real. Yeah, I was easily entertained back then. So, all right, let's get out of this and let's have a look at some of my work that wasn't photocopies. And this is still in the 16-year-old era. That means I was in year 11, which is junior year of high school. I've kind of gone easier on the dodge and burn. I've eased off that, gotten over that. At the time I was pretty happy with this picture, but right now I can see a lot of problems, like, you know, like the knife is directly flat on with the camera, which isn't that dynamic, and then also the lighting. I don't know if the lighting actually makes sense for this scene. Pretty much at that time I would just draw everything with the same lighting, so it would just be kind of front on, and then I'd have a rim light, and it was because that's just the way I'd always done stuff, so yeah. The next one is a Dragon Ball Z pic, and I was really happy with these. That was my Dragon Ball Z phase, so it was on every morning, and yeah, I was just really obsessed with it. So yeah, back to doing my own thing, and I think it shows with this one. He's really brown, like really brown. So you can tell my color palette and my color theory knowledge was definitely lacking. Kind of looks like it's just clay everywhere. Didn't know what I was doing. I think this one was like, it started out as like an ink sketch or a pen sketch that I scanned in, and then I played with the levels and then just colored over it. But yeah, you can see my struggles here with faces. So he's meant to be a dude that's kind of looking up, but obviously he's kind of got a pig nose and his eyes are too close together, they're too big. Yep, this sucks. So this was my senior year of high school. I didn't actually do much painting that year because, you know, I was so busy studying for my exams, my finals. We call it HSC. But I did manage to get some paintings done. And these, let's start out with one of the worst ones. So this one, there's a huge difference between this girl that I drew and, you know, my photocopied ones of, you know, celebrities, because I didn't have reference. So, you know, you could see like my massive deficiencies. Like if I just went around showing people my photocopies, they would think, oh, you're an amazing artist, you know how to draw photorealistically. But the truth is I didn't know how to. Like if I had to draw without reference, this is what would come out. So if you're an artist that does a lot of photocopying, I really stress like trying to draw without reference, because it'll really help you understand where your weaknesses are and show how much you really understand about the subject that you're drawing versus whether you're just copying pixel for pixel or, you know, using hand-eye coordination to line up lines and shapes. Somewhere during that year in high school I learnt more about painting, and I just tried a different approach. So instead of using airbrush or using cell shading, I went with like the paintbrush and a painterly style, and this is what popped out. So that was a huge breakthrough for me, and from then on I just really fell in love with like painterly styles. And you know, you can see in this image I'm kind of more aware of things like textures. So she's wearing some like kind of like copper or iron breastplate, and I've tried to emphasize that with like chip marks. And so yeah, this was a huge improvement for me. This is Guan Yu. He's like one of the ancient like figures in Chinese mythology. He's like a hero, and yeah, I was really happy with this drawing. I feel like it's one of my favorite drawings from then. Like even things like the gauntlets around here, the lighting, it felt really 3D and real. So I was really happy with this one. Okay, so, and this is another painting. It's like Metroid inspired, and the same painterly style I'm going with again. I mean, you can tell like I've kind of discovered a new trick. So, you know, I've just taken this style and applied it to new characters and new drawings. You know, if I compare the angel drawing with Guan Yu and then also with the Metroid character, they all kind of have like that kind of dark and murky palette and, you know, a painterly style. And at the time I thought it was awesome. Like I was super happy with these paintings, but now looking back I can kind of see my weaknesses. And so instead of like treating each image or scene individually as its own, you know, set of circumstances and its own unique lighting situation, I would just take a formula and apply it. And yeah, I wasn't too smart. Okay, so that's it for my little show and tell. This is only a small fraction of my work. I actually have tons more. Like I've got stacks of sketchbooks, and you know, I actually have all my paintings from my college years. So I'll save that for another video. This was just like kind of a sneak peek, starting out with my high school years. And yeah, I hope you liked the video. If you learned something or if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and a comment below. And of course, if you're new here, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.